And hello there. I want to talk about exploring the silence. And it's not about the quietness of the world or finding a quiet location, although it could be that for some people. But the mystics have always talked about the eternal stillness or the experiencing of God or the divinity of who we are. And for people who actually have a conscious experience of that, they would call it the peace or the quietness or the stillness as an expression of an inward and an outward experience, not as a sound or a lack of sound, but as an unchanging void or vastness where all of creation begins and returns to and actually is dancing in, like this big canvas which a painting gets put on, or a roll of film which the images then get filmed onto. There is something that supports this entire world, this entire universe. And when we rest our attention into that, one of the choices of how to express that or to explain it is to call it stillness or quietness. But like I said, it's not a lack of sound because this universe has sound in it. But it's that experiencing of this one eternal moment where we all exist together. So to explore that, to find that for yourself, that really is the essence of meditation. And why would we want to meditate and discover that source? Because when you start to see what the mind is, we start to see that we think. We have concepts and ideas taught to us or trained to us, patterns and habits that we operate through. And as we get older, those habits and concepts may or may not serve us. But if we don't know that they've been created, we don't know that then we can uncreate them, or they're not actually the absolute truth because they've been trained to us. For example, all the cars drive on one side of the road. That's true depending on where you grew up. It might be very common to actually hop into the car through the left-hand side door if you're in Europe or America, but not if you're in England, Australia, New Zealand, Japan, the few countries which actually drive on the opposite side of the road, for example, which actually means we have these ideas of what is right because that's what we've been told and trained. And that's fine, but it's not the big picture. It's not the absolute truth. It's something that we have been trained to know and to believe. And so when we start to investigate our thinking process and what we hold as true, we might realize that it's not truth, that there's something bigger. And to me, that's so exciting, and that's what meditation shows us, because then we start to recognize that there's this experience of being so present that it's beyond the thoughts and concepts. And in there, we have the purity of existing right now without patterns, without preconceived ideas. And if you can rest into that and start to live your life from that, you're living your life with incredible presence, incredible innocence, and an incredible vibrancy too of life, because then every moment and every conversation and everything that's happening is brand new. It's like you've been re-given the essence of who we are as humans and how to live in this world simply by detaching from the thinking process and realizing that you're not a slave to your mind and to what you've been trained to believe, but you actually are this divine presence that exists in this moment to enjoy and to fulfill your purpose. And that to me is incredibly, incredibly humbling, exciting, and the absolute reason why I meditate and why I believe everyone should. To explore that silence or stillness is to free yourself from the thinking pattern, to see what you're not, and then to live in this moment of who you are. And that is true freedom.